Have you ever noticed that the Bhagavad Gita means completely different things depending on who is quoting to you? A startup founder quotes it to justify working 18 hours a day. A monk quotes it to justify leaving everything behind. A motivational speaker quotes it to sell you a course. Same book, same verses, completely opposite conclusions. Either the Gita is the most flexible text ever written, or something is going on with the people reading it. Here is what I actually think is happening. The Gita is genuinely one of the most complex, layered, difficult texts that exist. Scholars have spent their entire lifetimes on it and still disagree about what it means. Even within Hinduism, there are multiple, completely different schools of interpretation. Advaita, Dvaita, Vasishtha Advaita, that read the same words and reach fundamentally different conclusions. But somewhere between those ancient debates and your Instagram Explore page, someone figured out that ancient spiritual texts are very easy to strip mine for content because they sound authoritative. They sound timeless. They sound like they came from somewhere beyond ordinary human opinion. So if you take a line from the Gita and put it on your slide deck, suddenly your productivity framework has 5,000 years of spiritual weight behind it. That's not interpretation, that's branding. Let me give you the most famous example. Karmanyavadikaraste mahaphaleshu kadachana. You have seen this everywhere, every motivational page, every corporate workshop, every self-help account with a Sanskrit font. The translation they gave you: do your work without worrying about the result. Focus on the action, not the outcome. Basically, grind hard, don't think about reward, trust the process. Sounds like a Nike ad, but here is what the verse is actually sitting inside. Krishna is saying this to Arjuna on a battlefield. Arjuna has just had a complete breakdown because he doesn't want to fight his own family. He's questioning the meaning of everything: duty, life, death, what any of it is even for. And Krishna's response is not, bro, just focus on your KPIs. He's talking about the nature of the soul, about how the self acts is not the same as the self that desires outcomes, about detachment not as a productivity hack, but as a fundamental shift in you how you understand that you even are. It's a metaphysical argument about the nature of reality, about ego dissolution, about whether the person taking the action and the action itself are even separate things. That's not just some internet post says about. And see, this is the thing about the Gita that motivational speakers never mention. It's not a comfortable book. It doesn't start with productivity. It starts with a man sitting on a battlefield completely falling apart, refusing to fight, questioning whether any of it even matters, full existential crisis. And Krishna doesn't say, here are 5 habits of highly effective warriors. He spends 18 chapters dismantling Arjuna's entire identity of reality, understanding of reality, of self, of duty, of what even death means, of whether the thing Arjuna thinks of himself is even real. But by the end, Arjuna doesn't feel motivated. He feels restructured. Something fundamental shifted in how he sees everything. That's not a TED talk. That's not a morning routine. That's something much stranger and much harder. And here is the part I find genuinely fascinating. The Gita itself warns you about this. Krishna talks extensively about people who perform religious or spiritual actions for external rewards, who uses the appearance of wisdom to gain status of material success, who makes the performance of the thing for the thing itself. Basically, the Gita spends significant time describing exactly what motivational speakers do with the Gita, which is either a remarkable coincidence or a proof that particular human tendency is so old that texts from thousands of years ago already saw it coming. Now, I want to be careful here. I'm not saying don't read the Gita. I'm not saying that motivational speakers are evil people deliberately misleading you. Most of them probably genuinely believe what they are saying. What I'm saying is when something ancient complex gets popular, it gets simplified. And when it gets simplified, something essential gets lost. Usually the part that was most uncomfortable, most challenging, most likely to actually change something in you, because comfortable sells, challenging doesn't. So, what you are left with is the Gita's aesthetics, the Sanskrit, the authority, the ancient wisdom field wrapped around a message that is basically just work hard and believe in yourself, which you could have gotten from a fortune cookie for free. The real Gita, the actual one, doesn't make you feel motivated. It makes you feel slightly destabilized, like the ground shifted little under your understanding of yourself. That feeling, that uncomfortable, slightly lost feeling, is probably closer to what it was actually trying to do than any morning routine it have ever been used to sell.